Totally was on mute. All right, how did I see the chat here? Oh, here we go. All right, show on stream. Okay, cool. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Hey, if you guys can hear me, drop where you guys are from in the chat, just to make sure that we are officially live right now. Let me know where you're from. And we are about to dive into make sure everything is good. All right. Oh yeah, I'm live. I'm 100% live. I'm 100% live. Dope. Okay. This is great. Annapolis, let's go. Jesse. All right. So people can hear and see me, which is fantastic. For some reason, this video only plays for a second. All right, guys, we're about to get into how to monetize your brand positioning. So if you guys are in the chat, definitely feel free to ask questions as we go along, and I'll do my best to get to everybody's questions. Make sure I got everything. Let me just do that there. Bam. Okay. What is up? What is up, everybody? So you guys all know with live streaming, right? It's it's never as easy as you think. But we are live. We're good to go. We're live on multiple platforms. So not only just LinkedIn, but we're live on Instagram and YouTube. And so today we're going to be talking about how to monetize your brand positioning right now. So we're going to go into really what I believe is from a personal branding standpoint, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you're a coach, whether you're a consultant, a service provider, a creative. This is really like your bread and butter. You want to figure out how to position yourself, understand what even your brand is, and then how to monetize that, and then how to effectively grow your business. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, for about, I would say, roughly like close to an hour. We'll see how much I want to dive into each piece, but I'm excited. I'm excited for this. So let me see here. Okay, fantastic. All right, just making sure that we're good. So, guys, drop where you're from in the chat. Feel free to ask questions as we go along here, and I'm excited. I'm excited. So, most coaches and entrepreneurs, are typically just in one room, one introduction, um, one piece of positioning away, from doubling their revenue. Uh, they're typically, what all the things that I've seen, people don't take the time to really perfect and focus on who they are and how to tell that story in a compelling way and how to share that story in a compelling way. And the truth is too, like, your current circle actually might be holding you back potentially. Um, might be holding you back from where you want to go. And so a lot of what I talk about and teach and speak about is how to change your circle. So how to change your circle to change your life, how to evaluate your current circle, how to get into new ones, and really how to be intentional about it. A lot of times, like, we look back at our life and we're like, man, how did I end up here? Like, I'm in this spot in my life. How did I end up here? And a lot of times it's because We just are kind of going to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And we're not intentional and really thinking about how we're moving, how we're saying yes to certain things, how we're saying no to other things. And so we're going to talk about that. And, that is like the basis, the foundation of monetizing your brand positioning. And then we'll get into some of the particulars of your brand, of your story. So how are you telling your story? What is your brand? What do you represent? What is your position right now? Is it somebody that's sought after? Is it somebody that is approachable? Is it somebody that is getting a magnet for opportunities? Or is it somebody that, hey, not a lot of people care about what I have going on? Are you not positioned as an expert, as a thought leader? Are you not positioned as somebody that can actually solve my problem that I'm experiencing? Do other people trust you? That's the positioning piece. And then some creators have large audiences, they're positioned well, but they can't monetize. So like, how do you monetize all this attention and attraction that you're getting in your business, and how do you monetize that, so you actually can grow? And so we're going to go into all of those things. But first, I'm actually going to share my screen with this, just a real quick, just a little bit about me, just so you guys know of who the heck I am. If this is your first time hearing me, so my name is Jamar Jones. I'm the founder of Forever Media, national keynote speaker, and the author of the book Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. And I'm really focused on getting people, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, service providers, to be able to change their circle, and grow their credibility and their revenue. And I've spoken on a lot of major stages, spoken for BMW. I've done partnerships with Red Bull, Tesla, Northwestern Mutual. List goes on and on. And I've trained and spoken to over 2,500 entrepreneurs, where we've been able to grow their brand and their business. And it's all through my brand positioning. That's really how we've been able to grow. We've done large events. We do retreats. We bring people together. We have a growing community of these people that care and value personal branding, but want to continue to push themselves and want to be around others that want to push themselves and push each other into growing and scaling their business. And so, which is an awesome community. And I've been just blessed in a way to have this ability to be able to network and connect with others and find common ground and find ways that we can all grow. And I've kind of used that, my God-given gift, to be able to help others to be able to learn the strategies, the frameworks of how to apply that to what they have going on, so that way they can reap the benefits of changing their circle. And so I've, met people like Gary Vee, David Meltzer, Marcus Lemonis, and a lot of other like influential people. Jarek Robbins, which is Tony Robbins' son, which he's been on our podcast. Hala Taha, a huge, amazing entrepreneur and influencer on LinkedIn. Sean Hanif of GenFlow, we've had him on the podcast. So just a lot of amazing individuals. And the list can go on and on. So I've just got this ability to change my circle and continually brand myself, which I love to help others. What's going on, Ryan? And I love to just, constantly just help others. So I'm hoping that you're going to grab something from this today. So let's get into it. So we're going to go into back to this. All right. So first things first is there's a credibility gap that you're having, right? So you look at, why am I not getting these kind of opportunities? Why am I not in these other circles. Maybe you're looking at other people online and you're like, man, how are they able to do this? How are they able to constantly keep meeting these amazing people? And how are they getting opportunities? How are they landing these kind of clients? How are they getting these kind of sponsorships? How are they landing these kind of stages? I want to be that. I want to have those kind of opportunities come to me. Well, there's a gap between people that know you, that discover you and know you exist and know what you do. And then there's a gap between that and being a magnet of opportunities. And let me make sure that my screen didn't just crap out on me. Let's see. All right. I don't know what happened, but hopefully it's still showing for you guys. And the gap is the trust, right? It's the trust and positioning. We gotta pop myself over here. It's the trust and positioning as far as you in between those opportunities, and people have to know, like, and trust you when it comes down to like your branding. That's how any kind of relationship or business transaction goes. And people have to know, like, and trust you. And so that trust is the biggest piece. This is the biggest component of the thing that you have to build the fastest, as far as to become a magnet of opportunities. And so that trust comes with positioning. So testimonials, where other people are, what, in the music world we call co-signing. So how many other people are co-signing that, hey, this is a good business to work with, this is a good person, this is a good person to introduce others to. So that's the credibility gap, which a lot of people don't focus on this. So even for professionals, for leaders, so if you are a leader of an organization, you might be trusted by your peers, but when we look outside your network, how many other people are trusting you? What does your positioning look like as a thought leader? That is what you have to look at, of how do I position myself correctly? So it's not just because you're good at something doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be, I'm resharing my screen. I think something happened. Guys, this is the life we live. There we go. So just because you're good at something, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to land these consistent opportunities, right? Because you're not positioning yourself as someone that somebody can really build that trust and say, hey, I'm going to reach out to that individual. We have to kind of cast the net. And a lot of times that invisible ceiling that you get can, oftentimes be caused by the wrong network or the lack of authority signals. And so what are those authority signals, if we want to talk about that? Those authority signals are other people co-signing what you're doing, other brands co-signing what you're doing, testimonials and social proof of that you are who you say you are, and you can do the things that you say you can do. And then it's also about how you tell your story. So who are you? What do you do? How do you do it? And why do you do it? Those are the things that you really need to get hyper clear on and be able to articulate quickly to somebody else. So that way they know how to, because people kind of put people's stories in compartments in their brain, because we're trying to find the connection of how we can connect with one another. Like, our brain naturally does this. It's not like we just go through life not trying to build connections. We naturally, even introverts like myself, we still try to build connections because we're trying to find some level of rapport. And that level of rapport can be built through storytelling, and the clearer and more concise you are in your story, the more that you can build those bridges between the person that you're talking with and yourself. And how you do that is, and this is kind of going into changing your circle, but when you're talking with somebody, you first of all, you want to have them do most of the talking. You want to ask really intentional questions about, not like, hey, how are you? What do you do? Those are terrible questions. They're just terrible questions. They're just not good to ask. Because the answer is not something really that you can work with, right? You're trying to find the bridges. You're trying to find the commonalities, and you're trying to build rapport. And so when you're asking others, and while you're networking and talking with people, you want to, ask like, hey, what's something exciting that you're working on? What are your goals for the rest of the year? That gives way more insight into what they have going on, what they care about, maybe what projects they're working on, what initiatives that they're doing. And now you can tie in, once it's your time to share your story, you start to tie in more of what they're doing. And you try to see, hey, is there a bridge in between us that we can create, so that way there's some commonality. And so this is all about positioning. So as you're building that trust with somebody, the more connections you have with somebody, the more that you can uh, build that trust quickly. So why do I say all of that when talking about networking? Is because the more that people know the people in your circle. So, for instance, if you're connected with people that are already deemed as a high authority in whatever capacity, if it's an influencer, if it's an executive, if it's a CEO of a company, if it's a thought leader, if it's somebody that um, is a big voice within their community, could be a huge nonprofit leader, it could be a certain brand. These type of entities are people that you want to attach yourself to, as long as there's alignment, because it bridges the gap where somebody says, hey, they're hanging out with so and so. I already deem that so and so person as an authority, so this person has to be an authority, or at least appears to be. And that's just the positioning. You still got to deliver, but that's the positioning. Let's see. Ryan said, do you think some business leaders might think that they're taking the time to brand themselves might take away the time they're spending on building their business? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a healthy balance, I think, between the two. But if I had to be honest, I think most people spend their time just building their business, and they don't focus on the branding aspect. Uh, it's just because you're so in the weeds, and you're kind of not working on yourself. It's just like if you're in a relationship with somebody, you're so busy just with the day to day, you're going through, and you're just kind of in the relationship, but you're not working on the relationship. So you're not questioning anything. You're not asking like, hey, is this where I want to be? Is this the direction we want to go? How are we building as a team? How are we um are we on the same page? You're not, or why am I even doing this? It's like you got to ask those questions to yourself, and take the time to ask those questions to work on yourself. It's just like the same saying of like, instead of working in your business, you got to work on your business. And so working on your business is more about, what's the strategy, what's the trajectory, where are we going, what are the goals? Re-asking yourself, why are you doing these things? Because that will help you. Once you're working in the business, it will help you where you're trying to go. And so I think building, with people that are entrepreneurs, that are coaches, consultants, service providers, creators, or business leaders, like, personal branding is becoming more and more of a need that they need to figure out. And once you double down on it, it makes your life a lot easier. And this credibility gap. So how else can you build credibility? And we're going to go into a lot of different ways, but it could be speaking on stages. It could be appearing on podcasts. It could be doing LinkedIn lives with other business owners or with other thought leaders. It could be social media content. How can I post some content to share my ideas, share my thought process, share my frameworks of how I was able to do certain things? If I'm working on projects, how do I share the journey of working through that project, and what was the end result, and what was the key pieces that I played a part in? So you want to share that journey, and you want to share your thoughts and put it out there so people know that you're truly, an expert in what you're doing. And then you want to align yourself, and this is more of like a PR mindset, but you want to align yourself with the right circles, of people that have influence, that have a voice. So that way it shortens the time span. Because if you're doing all the talking, it's kind of like, okay, they're saying some good stuff. But if other people are co-signing that of what you're talking about, oh man, that fast tracks this whole thing. So step number one is that you want to look at what are ways that you can build trust faster, of how are you sharing your message, sharing your voice out there? Are you doing it consistently, or is it every once in a while? And then how are you positioning yourself? Who's in your circle? Who are people that you need to be connected to and be in their circle, so that in that way you can ultimately shorten that credibility gap from people knowing what you do and finding out who you are, to becoming a magnet for opportunities. Let's see. We got another question here. So let's see. Can I pop this up on the screen? Oh my goodness. Let's go. Okay. So 100%. Do you think those leaders should be looking at these opportunities as a way of marketing your business or putting a face to your brand? You could do it both, to be honest. You could do it both. It markets your business even if you have a face to your brand. There are plenty of examples of major personal brands that are out there that are they're the face of the company, but they have an entire organization underneath them that is producing all the work and making the results happen. So it is possible. I know a lot of times people are like, oh, that I'm the only person that they're going to want to work with. You just got to set boundaries. I mean, the bigger you get, but for most people, this is not really the concern. The concern is like, oh, I don't want to, be the one that's out there because I'm trying to build a brand. But the truth is that people buy people. And if you're not going to be the face, there needs to be some person that's driving, depending on the business. But for the people I'm talking to right now, you're typically the person that's driving the result for your business. And you could have a lot of other mechanisms and levers and things in your business to drive leads and get engagement. But there needs to be somebody selling the story, right? Even some of the biggest brands in the world, they still have a face, or the CEO or somebody in the company is actively talking about it. Microsoft has a spokesperson. Like this is something that people just are connected to that story, and they need somebody to share and tell that story. All right. So next, we're going to go into the brand positioning that sells. The brand positioning that sells. So we're going to be talking about clarity, credibility, and connection. Let me see if I can swap this. Can I swap this? Let's go. Okay. And the reason, actually, can I just do like this? That's even better. So brand positioning that sells. So you want to follow this framework, and I've already laid it out for you. Is you want to have, like, once again, hyper clarity on who you serve. So that way, your audience knows who the heck you're talking to. So today I'm talking to entrepreneurs that are coaches, consultants, service providers, and thought leaders, or executives that are thought leaders, and they want to build on their brand positioning, on their personal brand. And so you want to have clarity on who you serve. And then what is the transformation that you're selling? What is the transformation that you're selling? I'm saying that again because a lot of us sell the features and benefits of what we do, but we don't sell the transformation. You want to sell the transformation. What is the transformation? The transformation is the thing that the result that happens for somebody and what took them from lost to found. That's the transformation. So, and you want to sell that. You want to sell that experience. You want to sell that feeling. You want to sell the numbers, the data of the results. But you want to sell that entire package. So it's almost like if somebody weighed 500 pounds, right? And then they worked with somebody and now they're at a more of a healthy weight because they lost, let's say, 150 pounds or something. There's a huge transformation, right? That happened. It's not the fact that of what they were eating and yeah, you want to know about their plan of like how are they able to do this, but you also want to sell, oh my God, their life is so much better because they have the energy to do the things that they want to do. They uh they're able to spend more time with their family. They've extended their life expectancy. They don't have any more of the health concerns that maybe they had when they were 500 pounds because now they've lost the weight. You're selling that transformation of that feeling, and then you want to sell a little bit of the data points of, okay, they lost this amount of pounds. They were at this calorie intake and now they're at this calorie intake. I'm not a, a professional when it comes to um, losing weight, but you get the example. The example is that we're selling that transformation. So think about, for your business, for the things that you're doing, what are you doing for clients? If you're getting them more clicks, calls, and traffic, what is the real result? Oh, they're able to grow their revenue. They're able to have a more consistent customer flow. They're able to understand their customer a little bit more. They're able to reach more people. You have to talk about that full transformation of the business and be able to be hyper clear and tell that story in your content, on podcasts, on stages, everywhere you can. You want to be hyper clear on who is it and what is that transformation. And then the people will buy the transformation from you. They don't buy the features and benefits of what you sell. All right, credibility. So proof, social proof. Got to record down testimonials, data points, things that show like, hey, you have social proof of what you're doing. So, for instance, this is social proof. Was in New York last year at one of our retreats. We had an awesome experience with amazing entrepreneurs, and I was able to feature entrepreneurs on a billboard in Times Square. And so, this is social proof that I'm helping entrepreneurs grow their personal brand in real time. Not only did they get the connections, the relationships, change their circle, and the information to be able to grow their brand and their business, they also literally had real world activations of like, hey, I'm now can say I'm featured on a billboard in Times Square. It's crazy good positioning. So back to the brand positioning and closing that credibility gap for them, because now they have that to add to their resume. And we also did podcasting and a bunch of other things in New York. And so this is social proof. Just this picture alone is literally social proof. So gathering social proof in your business to help yourself be able to become that thought leader and expert. And that way that's your, like Precious Williams always says, is that you're to be the only choice that matters. So you want to be hyper clear on providing, or hyper clear on who you serve, your transformation, and providing that social proof, the presence and positioning. So getting attached to the right people. What are some brands? What are some influencers? What are some companies that you can be attached to? Maybe there's voices like people on podcasts or people that host stages. How can you get out there to share your message and be connected with people like that? And the last thing is connection. So getting into the right circles. You want to get plugged into the right circles. So getting connected with the right people. How do you do that? We're about to go into that in a little bit. We're going to go into that in a little bit. So how do you get connected to the right circles? It starts with you. You have to first tell yourself that, hey, this is a priority that I want to do. I want to get connected to the right people. Maybe I know some good people. I'm not saying to hop, skip, and jump and leave your current circle. I'm saying that you need to tell yourself, hey, I'm purposely, intentionally going to get into new circles this year. I'm going to get connected with the right people that are going to drive my business and my brand forward. It's got to start with you. And you're got to be able to really, what I always start with is unlocking your self-awareness. I got to be able to push through fear. I got to be able to have a wider perspective. And I have to gain some confidence and have a little bit more self-love for myself to really push through and get into these new circles and be willing and open to accept the opportunities that are coming to me. So there's quite a lot of psychology that comes around with changing your circle, because some people feel like they're not worthy enough. Some people feel like the fear level gets increased. They're not confident in stepping into new circles because they don't know how to position themselves. They don't know how to sell their story. They don't feel like they're ready for it. Or they're so attached to their current circle where that is literally bogging them down, which I call like you may have some vampires in your circle, just draining your energy constantly. And so changing your circle, there's a lot of psychology to it, but it first starts with you, that you have to say, hey, this is an important thing that I want to do. And we're going to talk about that right now a little bit. So as far as changing your circle, we're going to do a quick circle audit. So first, the people that are in your circle, we want to ask ourselves, first, how many people in my circle are going in the direction of where I'm trying to go for my life and for my business? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. How many people? And you want to write that down, right? You want to write that down. How many people are on that same page as me of where I'm trying to grow? I'm trying to grow my brand, my business. I have a growth mindset. I'm trying to get ahead. And I'm trying to build something that's bigger than myself. So even if you're a thought leader, there's a lot of other leaders, right? There's a lot of other leaders that are out there just doing their thing, but they don't have a growth mindset. They're kind of checked out, right? They're kind of checked out. So even in a professional setting, you might be like, hey, I'm trying to be with people trying to learn, man, trying to grow, trying to be better, show up every single day better, to their organization and say, hey, I'm here. I got new strategies, new ways, new approaches. I got new ways to have empathy, to show appreciation, to show gratitude, to new ways of how I want to show up and be more of a leader and more of a sought after expert in my space. And I want to help more people. Jesse, publicity versus social proof. Always had those different in my head. Like publicity equals visibility, social proof, testimonials, tangible results. Yes, 100%, Jesse. So this is definitely two different things. So publicity is like a PR thing, right? That's the connection, and we're going to talk about that because like the truth is that proximity equals profit. I want people to write that down. Proximity equals profit. Because the truth of it is if you have proximity to the number one light clients that you're trying to get in front of, you're going to profit more. If you got proximity to influencers or uh, uh, major thought leaders or people that have big megaphones, they have an audience, and you have proximity to that, you're going to profit more. Simply just through that connection, because you're attached to something that has that megaphone, right? But that's there's a publicity position in it where it's like, hey, I'm featured on Forbes, or I'm featured on Inc. magazine, or I'm featured on these big publications. That's publicity. That's just like, hey, I'm letting people know that I'm doing this and I'm on something that's proven, right? But social proof is like, I actually can do the work though. I literally could do the work. I am who I say I am. I got proof. Like, I'm not just all talk. There are some people that literally, they got all the publicity in the world, but they can't prove nothing. They can't prove nothing. So that's a great point, man. Absolute great point. But you need both. You need both. You need both. Yes, you can. I've seen businesses be literally built off of just social proof and that they can do their thing and they're really, really good at it. But if we're talking about growing your personal brand, you need some level of publicity to let people know that, like, hey, other people deem your voice as credible. And so you need a little bit of both. At least that's what I believe. I think you need a little bit of both. So your circle audit. So you want to ask yourself, how many people are in the direction of where I'm going, right? Second, how many people are adding to my life and how many people are subtracting from my life? And what do I mean by that? How many people are positive influences in my life that are helping me get to the where I want to go? And then how many people, and you could write down literally a list of names, and then you could write down a plus or minus next to their name. No one else is going to see this sheet of paper, so it's all good. You can crumple it up. You can burn it afterwards if you're worried about people seeing it. But you want to also see how many people are subtracting for your life, how many people are just negative, that are downers, that are dream killers, that are just stagnant. They're not, don't have a growth mindset. They're just not on the same page. And you want to figure out, if you have more negatives than positives, oh, you got to change your circle, and it's going to be hard. You got to change your circle, and it's going to be tough. The reason why, because those negative people, a lot of those negatives that you have, they're like leeches, man. They're like leeches. It's tough to get away. It's really, really tough to separate yourself and to limit that, because they just got that leech mentality. So you got to work at that. And that's why I said, it's got to change your circle. It's got to start with you. You got to make the decision that, hey, I'm prioritizing myself. And that's why I have self-love in there, is because I am choosing me first right now. And then if you have a lot of positives more than negative, then that's fantastic. Then how do you lean now, regardless of where you rank, how do you lean more into those positive connections? How can you be more of a value to those people? How can you be more of an asset to those people? How can you involve them in what you're doing? And thirdly, the last question you want to ask yourself is, what circle do I want to get into? Who are the type of people that I'm trying to get more closely with? Is it a mindset thing? Is it a tactician thing where, like, hey, I want people that know how to do X. I want to be in a space where people are really learning about personal branding and growth and how to level up. I want to be in a circle of CEOs because I'm trying to learn from other CEOs. Ask yourself, what is that next circle? What is it? And write that down. Write that circle down and make sure that that's where a circle that you're going to be focused of getting into. Because now when you've written it down, now as you're networking, as you're going throughout your life and throughout your business, you're going to have your antennas go up and be like, oh man, I just met another CEO. Now it's not just like, okay, I don't know what to do with this relationship. Going back to the networking real quick. How do you make those connections? You want to find out what they have going on. What's important to them? What projects are they working on? What's their goals? And then you could try to figure out how you add value to that. So that way you can consistently change your circle. So there's a lot of other things that I have, especially when I do my keynote talks and my trainings, as far as going deeper into changing your circle. But I wanted to give you at least some starting pieces that you can take and apply it right now. And as far as getting into those new circles, let me give you one bonus. So you want to ask, so those positive people that you put down a plus, you want to say, hey, man, I'm trying to get into these spaces now. I'm trying to get it to meet more CEOs. I'm trying to be with more people that are more growth minded, that have ambitious goals or that are building companies. I want to, whatever that circle is that you put, or like, hey, I want to be around more people that are building websites. I want to be around more people that are serving nonprofits, whatever that is. You want to ask those positive people, who do they know? Who do they know that fit that parameters of the people that you're trying to get connected to? This is like a super shortcut. This is asking for that referral, and because they're already positive influences in your life. So asking that type of person, they're more than willing to help you. So this could literally lead you into 10 new conversations. All right, we're going to get into the next one here. Don't worry, guys. We're wrapping up. But look, monetizing your authority. Okay. So this is now all the ways that we can now monetize. So now let's say we're building our connections. We're changing our circle. We're increasing our credibility. Right? We're posting online. We're sharing our story. We're getting connected with individuals. But then you're like, Jamar, well, how do I monetize that though? There's a lot of people that got tons of attention and contacts, but they can't monetize it. So how I do that is like, first of all, just be simple with it. Be simple. You want to find simple ways to get value, to really give value. And I know a lot of people talk about giving value, but really and I listed out just a bunch of different ways that you could be able to monetize and be able to give value. But all in all, you don't want to lead somebody to like straight up to a high ticket thing. And high ticket could be literally cost investment or time investment. So for instance, like some people are like, man, I'm trying to find a mentor, right? And they literally start reaching out to a bunch of people and they're like, yo, would you mentor me? It's like, first of all, that's a huge ask. That's a huge ask. Like, hey, would you mentor me? Like, man, that's a lot of time. And if you're probably asking somebody that's already busy. So instead of doing that, you want to find simple ways to give value and say, hey, man, on your next event, I'll come out, I would love to come out for free and be able to, do X for you. Because remember, proximity equals profit. So you're doing that because you're providing value, but you're also showing that you're serious and you want to learn from somebody. And you could just straight up say, hey, man, I'm trying to get connected. I want to learn from you. Hey, is it cool for the next event? I'll pay my own way. I'll do whatever. But like, I just want to be, you want to be in the proximity. And as you build rapport and connections with somebody that builds that trust, probably mentorship opportunities could come down the way. There's been tons of stories where people have given that value up front for somebody. I'm not saying you got to do a bunch of free work for everybody. I'm just saying that depending on the disparity of like who you're trying to get in front of, like if I'm trying to get in front of Mark Cuban, right? I'm not going to be like, hey, would you mentor me? It's a huge time investment for him. And then also, why? Have I proven enough in my personal brand that he could do a quick look to see who I am? And then still also have it be worth it? No, I mean, maybe, but what I would propose is to find ways of goals that he's working on, maybe through research, and then pitch like, hey, I could, I've already done this for you. Here's this. I don't know, whatever that value add for him is. Or just start showing up to things. Show up to where he's at. Eventually, through proximity, things happen. So monetizing your authority is by just giving value to somebody. So I always tell this story of when we worked with an influencer named Shay Rowbottom. The first time, so this is a couple years ago, but as far as monetizing your authority, right? So I already had been posting a lot on social media and building up my own personal brand, showcasing the things that we were doing. So there's already some level of trust and credibility that already exists, right? With my brand. And so what we were able to do is one day, she had put out a post and was like, hey, I'm trying to do an event in Milwaukee, and like I'm looking for all these things, and it's like in 2 weeks. And then I was like, well, I know how to do a lot of events. Maybe I could help. And actually somebody saw that because through my credibility and somebody I'd spoke at an event, it was actually the Lions Club, and spoke at their event, and they tagged me in it, and they shot me a message and they said, hey dude, you're the only person I know who could pull this off. That's out of Milwaukee. I'm not in Milwaukee anymore, but this is back when I was in Milwaukee. And I was like, all right, let me send a message, right? I didn't go up there asking for a big check and all sort of stuff. I went there and said, hey, and I just started to say, hey, I think I could do this. Like, let's hop on a call and just see what you need, see what the goals are. What do you need? And I literally, like the next day, or like next day and 2 days later, I basically got her like 2 or 3 things that were already on her list of what she wanted for the event. It was like a venue, a boat, and something else. And then fast forward, we pulled off the event, produced that event for free, and that was also a huge revenue driver for her. But then the next, she's like, oh, I want to do this event in Dallas. Hey, how much do you guys cost to do that? Now we're monetizing, right? I've showed value for somebody that has 1 million+ followers, showed value up front, delivered social proof, right? We had the credibility gap of, I already had my personal brand going, so she knows like, hey, okay, he looks credible, to enough to get on the phone call for a quick call. And then I also delivered results quickly, which then builds more trust. And also I executed something which for me, it was an investment to showcase what we could do for a potential long-term gain, which we were able to produce other events for afterwards, which we were paid for. So this is a great story of monetizing your authority, because sometimes it's about giving value first. So I gave you a bunch of examples of what things that you could use of, if you're putting out content out there, you're putting out thoughts, you have a podcast, or you're on podcast, or you're just out doing your thing, right? You're out building that brand, you're out sharing your story. What are ways to get people to know who you are? Well, you can have lead magnets, free trainings, podcasts, newsletter. You could have your own community. You could have speaking, go out to places to speak. Brand partnerships, as far as to partner with you and your story and your message. Affiliate marketing. Hey, like, so Jesse does, I know he does a ton of like video marketing strategy for companies. And, he has a lot of camera equipment. Well, through his content, he could be like, yo, this is my top 3 cameras that I use that are trusted. And this is why I use them. People see him as a trusted authority voice within visual storytelling and visual marketing. So they're going to trust and probably buy from wherever he says, like, yo, if he says these cameras are good, I'm clicking on the link and I'm buying that. I don't got to search and look around. He just provided for me. Well, that's revenue. That's a way to monetize. Events, getting people together, gathering people together. Advisory roles, so like being on boards or nonprofit boards. Once again, that's that proximity, and you can begin to monetize. So as you're on those boards, you start to see what do people need. What ways could you plug in and be a resource? You could have a book. And so you maybe all the different podcasts that you're on, you collect all that information, and you publish a book of maybe something that you really want to put out there and represent. One-on-one calls. Hey, would you like to hop on a call with me? Let's get to know each other a little bit more. But these are all just ways. There's tons more. I only put a few out here, but these are ways you can monetize what you're doing today. But here's the key. You got to be consistent. You can't build this brand without being consistent. You can't show up every once in a while and expect that you're like, man, why are people not booking me? Why am I not getting leads? Why am I not getting more opportunities for speaking engagements or for podcast appearances? Why am I not getting more job offers if you're an executive? More job opportunities? Because you got to be consistent. You got to show up consistently. You got to keep changing your circle. Keep introducing yourself. Be out here networking. Be out here putting out your voice, your message, your story, showing the transformation, closing that credibility gap. And the more you do that, the more that these opportunities, I promise you, you will build your followers, you will build your audience, your engagement will grow, and you're going to become sought after. You're going to become a magnet for opportunities through your personal brand, which will grow your company and your organization. There's too many examples of people that are out in the public eye that are the voice of the company that are fueling interactions, right? For good or for bad, for good or for worse. you know, so you got to be consistent and you got to be focused on this. You got to be working on this. So I'm so glad you guys were able to kick it with me. Thank you guys for the comments. But what we're gonna do is, for anybody that watches this live, so I want you to send me, if you're ready to change your circle, right? If you know your circle right now is is too small, too stale. maybe it's just not the right one. Maybe your circle is just not the right one. You're ready to change your circle, and like you're ready for an environment where credibility, clients, collaboration are like the standard that everybody's willing to give. Everybody is like, there's amazing opportunities by changing your circle. That's exactly why I created the Change Your Circle community, where we have amazing entrepreneurs, as you can see here, like that are getting connected to brands, organizations, other entrepreneurs, other people that are like-minded, have the growth mindset, but also willing to give connections, referrals, resources. And we have a ton of different things in the Change Your Circle community. So if you're ready to change your circle, DM me on LinkedIn, or let's see if this is also on YouTube. What's the best way? Go on LinkedIn. If you're on YouTube, find me at Jamar Jones on LinkedIn. Instagram, shoot me a DM, and DM me the word circle. DM me the word circle, and we'll be able to give you an opportunity to join the circle that we only open up once a quarter. For you to change your circle. Like it's real. Feature people on billboards, Times Square, podcasting. This is us chilling in New York on a rooftop. This is the CEO of Potawatomi, good friend of mine that we just had a retreat in Milwaukee, that people were able to connect with. And through proximity, right, is the way to go. And everybody is on that growth mindset, and the willingness and have the heart to be able to connect with one another and help and rise the tide for all the boats to rise. So DM me the word circle if you found any type of value from this, if you want to get connected with more amazing individuals, because I would love for you to change your circle. And as far as takeaways from this, you got to be able to be consistent, close that credibility gap, find ways and say, hey, what are 5 ways for the end of the year that I'm going to close this credibility gap? How can I be consistent? How can I show up on social media? How can I refine my story? Who am I? What do I do? Why do I do it? And how do I do it? And be super clear on that. I do have a framework for being able to grow your credibility by refining your bio. I do have a framework for that, as far as refining your bio, so that way you almost like you're pitched out for publications and media. But there's a framework around how to actually position your bio. So if you want that, let me know. Collaborations. What kind of collaborations are you doing? Who are you getting plugged in with? Who can you be in the proximity of to help with your brand and your messaging? And I'm telling you, and then you got to be consistent. Did I say that already? Be consistent? I think I already said that. But you got to be consistent. So constantly, you got to be working on this. And the more you do this, it doesn't happen overnight. The more you do this, the more that it's going to happen for you, right? The more you do this, the more you implement these things, the more it's going to happen for you. The opportunities, you become an absolute magnet for opportunities. For more clients, more revenue, more income, more just opportunities for partnerships, for jobs. And honestly, you'll meet some lifelong friends along the way. The more you change your circle. The more you're intentional about this, you'll just meet some amazing people along the way. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Drop it in the comments even after this live stream goes. And then DM me once more. DM me the word circle on LinkedIn or Instagram, and we'll shoot you over the details as far as how to get in the community, have you guys change your circle. Thank you so much. My name is Jamar Jones. Let me just put myself over here. My name is Jamar Jones, and it's been absolutely a pleasure to rock with you guys. What's my next thing? We do have an event out in Denver, retreats. We are 13 tickets right now, already sold. So already halfway sold out, or more than halfway. So we have about 7 spots left, 7 or something like that, spots left. So if you were trying to grow your presence and be on a stage, be able to speak in front of a live audience, grow your confidence in your presence on stage, we have an amazing opportunity to be with 20 other individuals, growing their personal brand and their stage presence and their authority in Denver in October. So shoot me a message if you're interested for that. You could just message me Denver, and I would love to tell you about that as we're getting more people to sign up for that. So thank you guys so much. Remember, you guys are the one that has to do this. Like, I'm literally putting on this free training to walk you through, to guide you through, but it's up to you. It's up to you to make the decision of what you want to do. I just give you the platform. I just give you the opportunity. I create the space, right, for that to flourish. But it's up to you to step into the circle. It's up to you to change your circle. It's up to you to deem this as a priority. If you're tired of kind of the same old and kind of scratching your head and trying to figure this stuff out, then maybe the time is now. But you have to be able to be the one to step in and do this. I'm just creating the space for you and the opportunities. So thank you so much. Once again, my name is Jamar Jones, and I will catch you guys later. We'll probably do another training later on. So be on the lookout for that. I'm out.